B series.
I'm stressed as hell.
I reckon this immobilises an issue. Hello world, welcome back to Accelerator and welcome back to my Civic EJ2 Coupe project.
Yeah, now this currently has a D15 engine in it, but today we're going to swap it out for something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's not a K20.
Now, I love a K20, and we've had great experiences with K20s. However, I'm old and I'm stuck in the 90s, so I really wanted a B series. I wasn't even looking for an engine, but when a good friend of mine sent me the listing for this B20 VTEC setup, I couldn't help myself.
If you've been following the build for a while, you'll already know that we have decided to go B series and not K series. Ever since I was younger, I've loved Civics, and I have had B series in my life, but it's been too long, so I've just been aching to have a B series. So what we've got here is what's commonly known in the Honda world as a B20 VTEC swap. I have gone into the nerdy info in a previous video. Basically B20 block, B18 C4 head, and an S9B gearbox with an LSD.
Nice.
Right.
There you go. That's a lot of numbers.
I was going to say, now all that's out of the way, if you're still with us, I really appreciate it. But yeah, hopefully by the end of the day, we're going to be getting this into there. We have got the socketed ECU, everything. And another thing I do want to, there didn't seem to be much documentation online of doing the B20 swap, because the B20 swap in itself seems to be quite rare. So we're hoping if we run into any issues, we can help people along the way.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, while we mess up, we'll help other people.
Yeah, our mistakes, and hopefully benefit you guys, because we've already run into an issue, of course, but we'll explain that when we get there.
Yes.
So we were having a chat. So, well, it must have been about 15 years ago. We've technically already embarked on this adventure.
We have,
in another life.
You had a little EJ hatch. Was it an EJ hatch?
So I had an EJ2 Coupe, the red one, the one that we've actually both owned.
Yeah.
I drove up to Hull to get an EG hatch with a B18 C4 engine.
Yes.
One of our friends, Kenny and I, didn't know anything at the time to do with engine swaps, things like that.
No.
So a friend of ours offered to help out, but then because of situations and stuff like that, it never came to be, and the car was...
Yeah, well, we got the engine in there, but it was never running properly. Yeah, it wasn't running properly. So, yeah, today we are a lot more experienced.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, we're a bit more confident. I don't know my experience.
Yeah, your confidence is on point.
Yeah. So once again, this is something we haven't done and accomplished. So yeah, this is a sort of a first.
Yeah, so we've done, obviously you guys would have seen, we swapped the forged engine into Kenny's VXR. Bit different with this, that was basically a swap.
Yes, it was just
like
a swap.
for like
This
swap.
is an actual conversion, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because we're going, so the complications, again, I'm gonna have to get a little bit nerdy, stay with me. So this is a basically the complications come because we're doing a non-VTEC to VTEC swap. But we'll run through that all along the way. But as far as engine swaps go, I'm not going to say it out loud, but this should be fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously, with the VXR, there was a lot more vacuum hoses and stuff being boosted. So fingers crossed, being an older car, I'm not saying it.
Yeah, you know what we're going to say, you know what I'm thinking. So, what's our plan of attack, basically? Again, we're going to have to think of this completely different to the VXR.
We are
hopefully
totally.
in a good way, but...
yeah, I'm just planning on, we'll take, like I said, bits like this off, the rad pack, battery tray, everything, just to make sure there's access to everything. Yeah. And then, yeah, we'll just basically unplug the 3 plugs and rip it out.
That is literally, I'm sure that's what Honda put in
Yeah, exactly,
the instruction manual.
That's why they made 3 billion of them in like 3 weeks. So...
Yeah, so I think we should just move some of the Drew stuff first. But yeah,
we can take the engine out.
Yeah, that's probably all that's holding it in. Yeah, so I think we'll just start removing ancillaries and yank the thing out.
Let's do it.
So with no real plan, we just started removing whatever we could see and whatever was attached to the rest of the car. Things like the air filter box and intake pipe.
I was waiting for something.
The battery then came out and I started to remove the clamps for the coolant lines. Then suddenly remembered this car somehow still has its under tray, so that had to come off. I disconnected the coolant lines from the engine, however I did initially forget to take the radiator cap off.
Hey! There we go.
Once emptied, the coolant reservoir tank was removed along with the radiator. I swear this was done in one take.
Oh, you. There you go, engine out.
First take.
Yes, of course it was.
The optimistically named lower torque mounts were removed from both sides, along with their mounting brackets to minimise obstructions when the engine comes out. Amazingly, the O2 sensor and the exhaust manifold came out quite peacefully.
Right, we have been at this.
Oh, it's still my head in, man. This is more difficult than the VXR.
I know, we've been at it, it's got to be like an hour.
Oh. Yeah.
Just kidding. This, not jinxing it, but This has been, so far, has been a pleasure.
It's been nice, yeah. We haven't rushed. We have just been chilling. We've literally been at it just over an hour. And what have we got now? Drive shafts.
So the only thing holding the engine in at the moment, we've got the 3 engine mounts. The only one I'm not looking forward to is the back one there, because you've got to try and squeeze in. Exhaust is off. The gear linkages are still attached, and like we said, the shafts are still in.
Yeah.
But I've taken off that one.
Yeah, they should pop now, shouldn't they?
Yeah, I've undone that there. That's pushed through nicely, so that's not a big deal anyway.
Yeah, so I just want to say as well, we had to take the manifold off because the downpipe was, we did a bit iffy one new. They will come off.
Yeah.
But it's just the positioning and everything, so it's just easier just to rip the manifold off.
Yeah, so fortunately, that I was worried about. That looks relatively new.
It does.
So it came off quite nice. So yeah, we just made the executive decision to remove it all. We'll have more room anyway.
Yeah, it's more room to lift it now.
Yeah, which is nuts.
Yeah, well, get your ass under the car.
I was going to say we might as well have a 3-hour break because we're killing it. No,
get your ass under there, under that shit.
Okay, right.
Both side engine mounts are very easy to remove, but that rear engine mount really was a pain to get to. But we got there in the end.
So we are cracking on now. But what we've just noticed, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the EP3 that we built, for those that don't know, has been entered into...
Here he comes. There.
There it is. So that is Kenny's old EP3. We knew it was being used for the race series. What is it, PBS?
PBS Brakes Hot Hatch Championship. This was at Donovan Park yesterday.
Wow.
So that's insane, isn't it?
It's just amazing to see the car that we built. And interestingly, Kenny's in touch with the new owner, and he said all he did to enter into the race series was
roll cage,
and
a fire extinguishers. So,
what do you need for any race series? So
yeah, so that's Matt Warren who's racing. So keep an eye on him.
Yes.
Here he comes. He's actually chasing someone right now.
That's wicked.
He's gonna get him. Come
on, Matt. I mean, look at the way it handles. Whoever built that. Still got the wing on it.
And the 78 car being Matt Warren's version, the red car with a wing on the back of it. That's in Class A.
See, I told you big wings work.
That is so cool. That's a bit of a
I love that.
surreal moment. So yeah, I thought you'd throw that in there for you guys. I know some of you guys will find that interesting. But onto a more superior Civic. We are now. Everything
sorry,
is.
just past him.
Oh.
Yeah,
Nice
boy.
to get some proper limelight there. That's
I love
cool.
it, man.
Matt, yeah, well
Sorry.
done.
Yes. Anyway, back to this.
Yes, we are. But basically, no. The only things holding the engine in are the 2 engine mounts just there. We've done the rear. We've done the shafts. Oil is now drained. Coolant's gone. I think we're.
Let's get it out.
Yeah, let's just get it out.
Let's get it out.
It's just weird.
I don't know if them straps are gonna hold, but we'll see.
I know. I got my Fisher Price straps. So
Yeah, T-Moose.
I was on about doubling them up, but Kenny was just like, nah, I guess not his car, I
I
suppose.
don't really care.
Yeah.
No, we should
Right.
be okay. It's
Interest.
actually. Yeah, okay. It's a bit afraid on our one.
What are you, health and safety?
Afraid and petrified.
At this point, you have to put full faith in the Temu Special ratchet straps. I mean, they're bright orange. What more do you want from ratchet straps? With the tension on the straps, we removed the engine mounts one by one. I had real trouble removing the near side drive shaft, so I left it in. This is always a scary part of the process. This is where you find out the hard way if you've forgotten to disconnect anything. But it's also a very satisfying part as the heart and soul of any car is gracefully removed.
Voila. That is a big gaping hole.
It is.
One that we're very, very happy about. Engine, D-Series there, B-Series there. A couple of things we need to do while the engine's out. And a good note for anyone who's doing this swap, doing a D15 to B, any D-Series swap to B-Series swap, check your power steering. The D-Series connectors for the hard lines, the high pressure lines, are different to the B-Series. I was very fortunate. One of the boys hooked me up back there with a full front subframe from an EG, but it's got the right connections and stuff like that. The only pain is we need to undo the hard lines from the rack. I didn't realise it goes all the way back there, up and down, left, right, and all the way up and around. So we need to change all of that. We're going to change the rear mount. I've got a new mount to do while it's out because that would be a pig to do when the engine's in.
Yes.
And then it's moving on to the engine then, because I forgot. We're like, oh, we'll chuck it in. And I forgot I've actually bought a clutch as well we need to put in.
It's all good. We'll
like your
sort
attitude,
it,
yes.
As I said. There's always another day.
Yep.
And another day.
And another one. And another. So it's all going smooth. One of the high pressure lines does not want to come out. And it would be the line that we need to change, and it's the one furthest back.
Yeah, because the one in front of it cracked.
Yeah,
So it's nice.
Come off lovely.
Yep.
So, we've got to take some extreme measures. I've moved the, what I'm assuming is a charcoal canister. And I've got one of these in my hand. This is never good.
You're like me. I like tools like that.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it, not you.
I'll just cut them both off.
Should probably get a bucket to catch all the fluid.
I was thinking that. What do you mean? We did have a bucket. Safety first.
Should probably explain more about why we're actually cutting stuff. So, that's the line there that would not crack off. So my theory is cutting this pipe so we can hopefully get a socket over there. Because as we're trying it with the spanner, it's just starting to round there. So obviously with the socket, you've got more contact points. So
And we don't need it again, so that's why we cut.
yeah, anyone who wants this can't have it now, lucky. So you know you've got a problem when you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 engines. 5.
One that's actually in the car.
We could now finally move our attention to the B20 engine. First step was removing the gearbox so we could install the new clutch kit. I hate doing this because gearboxes never want to part with the engines, but I am grateful as it's so much easier doing this when the engine is on a hoist.
Just had the gearbox off, and this is why I always like to replace. Although the clutch was apparently fine, just from tapping it to try and get it off, all this stuff came out. And what were them with the pressure plate? Pressure plate there, although there's a lot of meat on there, you can see the springs are a bit not great.
Oh, he's definitely had a bit of an idea.
Oh yeah, someone's been hitting VTEC once or twice. But yeah, it's always worth replacing them, and just peace of mind really. Luckily, solid flywheel, so we haven't really got to worry about that. I will give that a quick wipe. Just thought, hope we got the right bleeding clutch now. New clutch here. So, pressure plates, hopefully. Yeah, it does look a couple of mil more. But, as long as this mounts up. Whew!
Yeah.
Right, I think we're good.
Let's do it.
Oh. Greetings all. It's day 2. I don't think we run through this.
Yeah.
So once we pulled the flywheel off, once we had the clutch off, we were looking at the flywheel, and one thing I did want to change was the pilot bearing for the flywheel, and I forgot to order it because it's me. We checked the bearing, it was rough. So, in a panic, I was online looking. I think I've still got the old one in my pocket.
Have you?
Yeah, so a little bearing there. Obviously, sent with a flywheel.
That's nice now.
Yeah, it's nice. It wasn't nice, it was rough. So, in a panic, I was looking at Tegua. I was thinking of contacting Honda, doing this and this. And Kenny turned around and said, "Oh, I'll check out Amazon to see if it's on Prime." I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
No, but yeah, because we wanted to try and get this done this weekend.
Yes.
Obviously, you'd have had to delay this video for another week or so.
Exactly.
But yeah, literally went onto Amazon. We measured the bearing and found them, a pair of them, for £5.75. And they were delivered.
We ordered them on Friday. It was Friday
evening.
Friday evening, and it literally came on the Saturday. It's Sunday now, so we can now crack on.
Yes, thank you, Amazon.
Yeah, I gotta say, and I was taking the mick out of you, but fair play.
Yeah.
It saved us a lot of time. It was 2 of them delivered, for £5.75.
Cannot fault it.
So hopefully, it looks. I mean, it's flush there. It's protruding a little bit on the back. I don't know if
it's not going to affect the.
No.
No, it sits in there. Yeah, it does actually sit inside.
Oh, so. Of course it does. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be fine. Well, I don't care. It's the mic.
Yes, yeah, don't worry. As long as we can get it running, it hasn't got to drive.
This is it.
I've had a quick look. I should have done it before and after. This was bargain. I thought this is probably the only chance I'm going to get. So I've had a quick wipe down in there. Before you put that on, I want to have a quick clean behind there.
You mother.
Because I started doing it yesterday, and it's just very, very satisfying. All the gunk comes off.
That's all right. We got all day. You take time, kid.
And I forgot to mention, I've gone LUK clutch. I've learnt now. I went XZE or XZD, whatever you want. I've done that a couple of times, and the bearings in them were terrible.
Oh, right. Okay. I know LUK are brilliant, and I even put a LUK flywheel in the TTRS.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
and it held up. So yeah, so LUK are fantastic, and I've even bought a genuine Honda oil filter there, a smaller one, so you do get better oil pressure apparently as well. So that's on. We've got the.
At least you've done something.
It's exactly, yeah. But now it is a case of putting I'm gonna have a clean in there.
Okay. What about this power steering pipe?
That's something else we didn't run through.
Yes, do you want to have a quick, just a quick?
Yeah, this was an absolute pain.
I think we showed we had to cut it off.
Yes, so it was completely seized in there, so I've cut the pipe off to get the union off. These apparently came off an EG, and I don't know if it's my luck, but this is why I don't trust anyone when they say it's plug and play. Apparently came off an EG, the pipes, the hard lines, which is the ones I was having issue with, completely different. I got to say a massive thank you to Wayne once again.
That was Friday evening as well.
Friday evening as well. I contacted him like last minute. He was like, yep, come on down, we'll see what we can do. And he must have spent 45 minutes trying to bend and flare because we didn't have the right tool to flare steel pipe that size.
Yeah.
He's an absolute saint. He's done what he can. And he basically said, now what we're going to have to do is try and connect it and just see if it leaks or not.
Like I said, worst case scenario, you're going to have to try and get a bit of hard pipe made
Yeah.
from a hydraulics company, which luckily, you know, Georgia knows.
Yes,
someone.
Georgia works closely. Why?
But
Didn't
for
think of that,
now,
didn't I?
let's fingers crossed it works.
Yeah.
How often do you get to clean inside your box? I gave the gearbox a quick wipe down while I could, then it was on to installing the flywheel and the clutch release bearing along with the clutch fork.
So, when life gives you lemons and you're an idiot like me and don't get the alignment tool, get a Kenny because he creates funky things like this. Basically, DIY clutch alignment tool.
Look at that, it's perfecto!
See, touch wood, it does seem to be working quite well.
Touch wood.
Kenny basically wraps some masking tape around the 1/2-inch extension bar to fit the diameter of the flywheel pilot bearing, then step the amount of masking tape up to the size of the friction plates to get them aligned. This really did work well. It was then time to refit the gearbox. This is even worse than removing it, as the input shaft has to line perfectly through the clutch, which sounds a lot easier than it is.
Update time. Exciting because we are ready to go in. Power steering lines are stressing the hell out of me. We're going to plan B on that one. I'm going to contact a hydraulic company because we're not confident that it's not going to leak. And
They're all different sizes, like the thicker hose.
completely different, isn't it?
Different. So, yeah, I think it's rather mess around.
Yeah, so the main thing is for today we want to get the engine in and get that key turned to make sure, yeah. But everything's on. We've torqued up the clutch. Our makeshift clutch alignment tool worked great. So now is when we find out, just to make sure, because like I said, with my luck, when people say, oh, it's plug and play, it came out of an EG. But we'll find out now if it does actually fit. So
Moods were high, adrenaline was pumping until we heard this. It's probably fine. Here we go. Will this thing fit in this poor car? It's usually not too bad of a job moving an engine around, but when the both front wheels on your engine hoist collapse and decide they don't want to be wheels anymore, it makes it 63 million times harder. We had an issue getting the body past the gearbox mount, so I had an idea, but it was at this point that Kenny forgot which way was up and which way is down.
oh, drop it down. Kenny's up. Make sure the camera's running. I'm glad that was caught then.
Yeah, but I got us past the bolt.
Well, you know which way's up now, don't you?
No, I don't.
No, clearly not.
After a bit more fettling, we managed to get the engine into the right position, sort of, but the side engine mount would not line up. It took a lot of pry bar effort and some swear words to get the bolt through, but I'm still not convinced this sat straight. With all the mounts in place, we started to remove the ratchet straps and let the engine sit on its own weight for the first time in the car, and it did not fall out. With the engine sitting up all by itself, we got stuck in attaching all the accessories that make a car run. This included wiring the battery cables to the fuse box and fitting the clutch slave cylinder. Find me a more accessible slave cylinder, I do love 90s Hondas. And it wouldn't be a 90s Jack car without some cable ties. Fortunately, the loom plugs themselves are plug and play, but we do need to add a wire or two from the ECU to the VTEC solenoid, which I think I'll go into detail about in another video because I still need to do a bit more research. Speaking of the ECU, it's time to remove the old ECU and fit another old ECU. This is a socketed P28 ECU, the go-to setup back in the 90s and a cheaper option than going standalone. With it being socketed, the mapping is done through a chip, which sort of acts as a mini standalone. Fortunately, this is physically plug and play too. Honda do like to keep these things simple, thank God. I may or may not have forgotten to drain the oil on the B20 beforehand. The sump plug was a bit tight. At this point, it was starting to look like an engine bay again. I put the engine oil in without really measuring it, which apparently I was quite proud of.
Oh, come on. Completely blind. Alright!
Why does Kenny have a fire extinguisher? Because it was now time to connect the battery for the very first time.
Right, we think we're at the point now. Everything's connected. I'm genuinely nervous. I am starting to...
It's always the same. I was the same with mine. Like.
But when it was yours, I wasn't scared at all.
I'm not either. I don't care.
Yeah.
But now...
So what we're going to do now is prime it a couple of times. Make sure the fuel pump's priming. We've got oil. We've just put oil in the box. The shafts are in, so we shouldn't have any fluids leaking. The battery's now connected.
Yeah, fuel lines are on. Obviously, we haven't got no coolant in, like you said. So...
No, we're just going to make sure it runs at the moment.
Yeah. If not, we're runs in out of that big door over there.
Okay, guys, here we
So
go.
you put the ECU in, yeah.
Right, so
Have we got ignition?
ignition. I got lights.
Okay.
I can't hear fuel pump priming.
I can't either.
No,
No ignition? You got nothing?
no. Shall I try and crank it?
Yeah.
Right. No, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Oh, right there. Ha! I'm special. Hang on. I forgot it's got an immobilizer right there.
Immobilizer. Yeah, that would probably stop it doing anything, cuz. It still didn't work.
Hang on.
I can hear some ticking in here. Some tickety boo. Still gonna prime.
I reckon this immobilizer's an issue.
Yeah, with that ECU.
Yep.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, I can hear some ticking under here.
Right, so as you saw then, it wouldn't crank. I'm stressed as hell. My thought was immobilizer, because there is what I'm assuming is an aftermarket immobilizer. Massive thank you. This is why it's handy having people around you, Kenny and Georgia. I was about to give up and just go home because I'm fed up of cars not working. But Kenny realised, again, double checking everything, and noticed that the engine earth strap wasn't on. Now I was going to say that won't affect the fuel pump and stuff like that, but...
Full loop. It needs to be
yeah,
earth.
so this is genuine now.
I just fitted that basically off the old engine. So you got this one here, which was off the rocker cover off the old engine. So I just sanded that down, put the bolt in. We've got an earth, and now it's actually, well, is it priming?
So ignition now. The fuel pump's priming. So this is now genuine. Are we ready?
Well, as ready as we can be, if it will.
As you may have guessed, the exhaust is not attached, hence the racket.
What do you mean? Leave it like that.
I know, it is a Civic.
It's exactly.
Okay, my stress levels have gone down a little bit now. That's amazing. Thank you both very much.
No worries. Like I said, now I think we're just gonna. Are we gonna plumb everything else in?
Yeah. So what I want to do now, if you've got time,
Of course.
is plumb the cooling in, get it up to temperature, which is the main thing.
Yeah. Let's burp it and sort it out. And...
Yeah. Go from there.
I'll take it for a drive.
Yeah. See if we can get that. Well, it's up and running.
Yeah. What a day.
Yeah, so engine is in, starts, we've got all the fluids in there, we finally got it up to temp, we bled it all, finally got heaters, got everything we need.
Yep.
The next step is trying to figure out the wiring for the VTEC, because I've got some conflicting information.
Yeah, basically we want to know, there's two wires that is saying on the information, VTEC solenoid, VTEC pressure switch. We've only got a VTEC solenoid wire going through the wiring loom.
Yeah.
So if anybody's got any idea, just let us know and put it in the comments.
Yeah, I'm hoping by the time this video comes out we would have solved
Sussed it out,
but
yeah.
I know we've got a lot of Honda people now, so if you've got any experience, any advice, or anyone to contact, let us know, drop in the comments. But yeah, we'll keep you guys up to date. I am now going to be working my ass off this week to get the brakes built up so we can actually drive this thing and make sure that everything is okay.
That's going to be the one. Like I said, I can't wait to get out on the road now and see what it does.
Yeah, it is going to be fun.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so much more to come as usual. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We will see you in the next one.
No booms, but a lot of brrrr for some reason.